Trump's cabinet announcements today sending shock waves through the silly, ridiculous, corrupt Washington establishment, and that's a good thing. To start Trump's wave of bombshell appointments today, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, you may remember him, for Secretary of State, our chief diplomat, followed by former Democrat Congresswoman turned recent Republican Tulsi Gabbard, combat veteran herself, unlike Walz, for Director of National Intelligence, the DNI. And the left's least favored announcement, MAGA loyalist and Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who's been on this show before, for Attorney General of the United States of America over the Department of Justice, which needs a lot of shaping up. Now, in President-elect Trump's announcement tapping Matt Gaetz, he stated, Matt will root out the systemic corruption at the DOJ and return the department to its true mission of fighting crime and upholding our democracy and Constitution. We must have honesty, integrity, and transparency at DOJ. Under Matt's leadership, all Americans will be proud of the Department of Justice once again. And boy, they really are on the rocks now. Goodbye, Merrick Garland, by the way. And this is wonderful news, right? I mean, this is actually a little bit of a riot. Matt Gaetz is a disruptor, and that's a big deal. I think Hegseth at DOD, disruptor. And these are institutions that need some disruption, right?
You have no rule of law in this country if you have a lawless, weaponized, hyper-politicized DOJ, which we've had now for decades. Matt Gaetz has not only exposed the corruption and weaponization on the Judiciary Committee, but he's also been targeted by the DOJ himself. So who more formidable a force to go in there and overturn tables? And maybe the best knock-on effect potentially of all with this is there are going to be resistance forces burrowed in there. There might be some self-deportation out of Washington, D.C. with Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General.
Self-deportation out of D.C., overturning tables, a little biblical reference.
Look, and we've seen these federal judges. I mean, you take, these federal judges in New York. You see what's happened in Georgia as well. The Department of Justice has gone out of control. And they have targeted conservatives. They've targeted Catholics. They've targeted the MAGA folks, calling us domestic terrorists. It's got to stop this targeting of people who support Donald Trump. And so I think Matt Gaetz knows firsthand that has to be his priority, that he's got to get the Department of Justice in order, focus on getting like the drug cartels, focus on getting the human traffickers, go after the real bad guys instead of going after the patriots.
And Foldi, honestly, you go at the left targeted the Department of Justice institutionally, and you corrupt the Department of Justice, and bam, you got a third world country in one move.
I think there's no doubt that the worst and most unqualified Attorney General nominee in our lifetimes was probably Merrick Garland. And, he's been there for 4 years. And I think a lot of this ties back to the media. You saw right at the end of the last segment, I think that's Lawrence O'Donnell looking really like a movie villain on that screen. He was lamenting that DOJ will only last 18 months. And it reminds me of a great quote from Reagan, who said that the closest thing to immortality is a government program. And these people are horrified that you have people like Elon Musk. I mean, I'm listening to the Walter Isaacson biography of Elon Musk right now, and I'll report back once I finish in like 5 years. But he started from nothing, and you look at his latest involvement in politics. He started America PAC, great name, which was one of the biggest winners, I think, of the 2024 cycle. It basically built a ground game up from nothing, delivering Pennsylvania in particular to Donald Trump. Now you have people like Musk going in to make the government work for the American people, and the scorn with which these journalists looked at the effort simply to make government work better is horrible. And I think the point here in this segment with journalists is you see them running. They're back in action. They were on vacation for 4 years, and they're running up to Republicans asking about Matt Gaetz. And my advice as a journalist to these Republicans is you don't owe these guys anything. This is back to the Trump era where you have to respond to everything every 5 seconds. No, you don't. You can take your time and digest, because all of these questions are traps, and you would be smart to not fall in them.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.